Have you never had a boyfriend? Does it feel like you've pulled the short straw when it comes to love? I'm going to tell you exactly why you're chronically single and what you need to do to improve your love life right now, regardless of your age, looks, or station in life. Hi, I'm Amy North, author of The Devotion System. I've helped so many women find the love life they want. But what if you have little to no experience with no men? Well, the truth is, I can help you most of all. In fact, this is one of the easier romantic problems to solve. Keep watching and I'll explain. First off, you need to know that the problem isn't that you're not desirable to men or that you're incapable of finding love. The problem is entirely about your mindset. Oftentimes, when women come to me with this problem, they feel lost and without hope. They feel like they're unlovable and that no man ever wants them. These women say that if they ever do connect with a guy, then they either get too nervous, drive him away somehow, or he turns out to be just using them for sex. Any of this sound familiar? Answer me this. If you met a man who talked this way, would you want to be with him? Of course not. So how can we expect men to want us when we're putting out such negative energy? Even if you're keeping this stuff to yourself, if you feel this way, then it's bound to show up subconsciously in the way you talk and act. This unconscious bias against yourself is a bigger barrier to your happiness than anything else. I'll tell you some facts and ideas that will help you reframe how you look at your singleness and put you on the path towards self-acceptance and love. First off, I mentioned that many of my clients come to me with this exact problem. You know how I can tell these women apart from women who are happily in relationships or even married? The truth is, I can't. I've been doing this for a long time, and the truth is that there isn't a huge difference between women who get boyfriends and those who don't. This is all because love, like in all things, largely comes down to chance. This can be a scary thing to accept, but when you realize how much of your life is random and unknowable, you'll start to realize that the fact that you haven't had a boyfriend yet isn't some scarlet letter. It's just how things happen to shake out. This means you're as likely to find love as anyone else. In fact, you're overdue for it. Another reason that your love life is lacking is simply because you're more selective than other women. While many say this holds you back, it can actually be an indicator of greater romantic satisfaction in the long term. Women who are more picky tend to have more successful, long-lasting relationships. This is because they're not willing to date just any man who comes along. They want a strong connection, similar values, and a compatible lifestyle. Don't lower your standards to fulfill some arbitrary social milestone. There are plenty of people who say they had their first boyfriend or girlfriend in the second grade. Was that a relationship worth having, and did it really make any difference to their life or who they are today? Probably not. So, don't let it get you down. Being selective is a sign of self-respect. You go, girl. Another factor at play is circumstance. Similar to being single by random chance, you're most likely a victim of circumstance. One of my first clients ever was named Mary. Mary was a beautiful, intelligent woman in her mid-30s. You know how those people you meet insanely charm you and make you feel like you're old friends? That was Mary. So when she told me that not only had she never been on a date, she'd never even been kissed, I was shocked. Mary was deeply embarrassed by her lack of experience. When I got to know her a little more, I started to understand why it hadn't happened for her just yet. Mary grew up in a small town in the prairies. She went to a school in a one-room schoolhouse with the same 10 classmates from kindergarten to graduation. Then Mary went to nursing school for a semester, but had to return home to take care of her aging parents. From then on, Mary remained in her small town and largely kept close to her family, as circumstances required. She maintained a pretty small social circle and kept to her routine. Working at the local library and looking after her family took up most of her time. While Mary was happy with her life, she always felt like something was missing. She wanted to find love, but she simply had no idea how to go about it. As time passed, it seemed to get more and more difficult to get a boyfriend, and also more and more important. By the time Mary sought my help, she felt totally hopeless and unlovable. So why was Mary unable to find love? The truth was that life just got in the way. I helped Mary realize her true potential and got her out of her shell and into a wonderful relationship. I'm happy to say that Mary and her husband Keith just celebrated their 3rd anniversary, and they couldn't be happier. While Mary was a particularly unique case, I find elements of her story in almost every woman I help. Whether you're from a small town, ended up in a job that doesn't offer much of a social life, or for any number of reasons, you're still as valid and lovable as anyone else. Think about it this way. A recent study by Tinder found that flight attendants have more sex than almost any other job. Is this because people who become flight attendants are inherently more sexy than people in other jobs? Of course not. It's because flight attendants are constantly traveling to foreign countries and they're dealing with the general public. This puts them into situations where they have plenty of opportunity for romantic encounters. While I don't advise completely changing your life in hopes of getting more access to men, hopefully this example shows you that being single isn't due to any fault of your own. In fact, this brings me to my next point. Never having a romantic relationship is not that abnormal. A recent study shows that 1 in 5 millennials have never even been kissed. Another finds that 37% of college graduates have never been in a romantic relationship. Whether it's due to hookup culture or changing societal roles, the definition of what constitutes a relationship is very much up for debate these days. You can have an ongoing sexual and romantic relationship without ever being official. And while this isn't always ideal, it is no less valid than other forms of love and dating. You may be saying, Amy, this is all well and good, but what does it have to do with me? I'm single because I rarely attract men, and when I do, I drive them away before things get serious. This brings me to my next point. Often being chronically single is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Women who hadn't had a relationship tend to be more nervous romantically, and this makes it harder for them to establish a relationship. If you've seen any of my videos in the past, you've heard me talk about the negative role desperation plays in dating. Women who describe themselves as perpetually single tend to fall into one of two camps. They either respond to a bit of attention with a lot of love, scaring men off with their intensity, or they forgo the idea of dating completely and shut themselves off to such a degree that they don't even know what they're missing opportunities. Obviously, neither of these approaches will solve the problem. So how do you solve the problem? Well, the truth is, you've already started. By demystifying your single status, you've realized that it's not some failing or weakness on your part. You're as capable of a relationship as anyone else. In fact, I would say more so. Many people simply let life happen to them, but by seeking out this video, you've proven that you've identified a need in your life and are taking steps to fulfill it. What's your next step? Go to coachnorth.com right now. There you'll find a free video presentation that details how to find, meet, and connect with better men. Your love life won't change unless you do, and the first step is getting more information. Go to coachnorth.com to learn more. Thanks for watching. For any of you that have managed to go from chronically single to happily coupled up, please share your story in the comments below to show other women that it is possible. Bye.